Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Doctor. Dr. Sarup. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Thank you. Ms. Sarita,
Good evening, sir.
would like to request you to moderate the session. Can you start?
Yes, sir.
Thank
Good
you.
evening, Dr. Swarup Datta. Welcome to this session. Good evening, everyone. And welcome to the 199th web training session being conducted today by BTAG in collaboration with CBSE Bharat Sahodaya Complex. I extend a warm welcome to our respective resource person for the day, Dr. Swarup Datta, our program director, Dr. Abdul Salam, and all our dear participants who have joined us. It is indeed a pleasure to have each one of you as an integral part of this webinar as we go about learning more about the National Credit Framework. I am Sarita Warrior, your moderator for the evening. I have completed my post-graduation in economics from the prestigious Ferguson College, Pune. Currently, I'm working as an English language educator at Nalanda Public School, Mumbai for the past 15 years. I have been associated with BTAG ever since its inception and also serve as the chief editor of Transformers, the educator's magazine, published biannually by BTAG for the benefit of the teaching community across the world. It's a great feeling to be present here today for this very important topic, and my humble gratitude to Dr. Abdul Salam for giving me this opportunity. The National Education Policy 2020 lays emphasis on making education more holistic and effective by integration of general and vocational education, while ensuring the vertical and horizontal mobility of students and learners between academic and vocational streams. To realize the intent and objectives of National Education Policy 2020, the National Credit Framework, NCRF, has been jointly developed by a high-level committee constituted by the government with members from UGC, AICTE, CBSE, NCERT, Department of School Education and Learning, and Department of Higher Education, and the Ministry of Education and Skill Development. NCRF is a comprehensive credit framework encompassing elementary, school, higher, and vocational education and training, integrating creditization of learning on academics, vocational skills, and experiential learning, including relevant experience and professional levels acquired. The NCRF provides for creditization of all learning and assignment accumulation, storage, transfer, and redemption of credits subject to assessment. It aims to remove distinction and establish academic equivalence between vocational and general education, thus enabling mobility within and between them through the Academic Bank of Credits, or ABC. Along with these salient features just mentioned, the National Credit Framework is a comprehensive guide to realize the true goals of NEP 2020. This is exactly the journey all of us are going to embark upon in the next couple of hours, where a remarkably talented resource person, Dr. Swarup Datta, will throw more light and guide us through the intricacies of the framework. Before we begin with today's session, there are a few things I'd like to quickly brief you about. Switching on your device camera is optional, and any query in the midst of the session can be conveyed through the meeting chat box. In order to have an interactive experience, you may note down your queries and ask them at the end of the session. Our resource person will be more than happy to dispel your doubts. Please click the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called out before asking your query. The participants will have the opportunity to receive a certificate only after filling up the certificate and feedback form. The link for the same will be shared at the end of the session. Kindly stay connected till the end. It is now an honor and privilege for me to welcome our program director, Dr. Abdul Salam. Sir is a distinguished CBSE resource person and master trainer. Dr. Salam is the principal of Vidgyor Ha Yelahanka, Bangalore. He is also the founder of BTAG, that is Bharat Transformers Academy Group, a consortium of educators and the teaching fraternity across the globe, connecting them all together to empower the nation. Sir, I request you to take over and deliver the welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Sarita. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Dr. Sarup. Well, thank you for joining, everybody. from across India and abroad. We are going to have another enlightening session by Dr. Swaroop Datta. When this National Credit Framework was announced by CBSE, immediately I approached Dr. Swaroop because he is the only person I believe who can throw so much light on this topic. In fact, finally, CBSE has let the cat out of the sack, which should have been done a bit earlier. But this is definitely going to benefit the student community greatly. So let us all, lend our ears to Dr. Swaroop Datta, who will definitely take us to more about what is meant by National Credit Framework and who it is meant, how it is going to be implemented. So thank you so much, Dr. Swaroop, for offering this session to us. Thank you everybody for joining. Let us make use of this session fruitfully. Let us clear our doubts with him. He is all prepared and he is the most resource person that I have ever met. So thank you so much, everybody. Keep connected. So thank you, and over to the moderator, Saridana. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now we shall proceed to the highlight of today's webinar. Amidst us today, we have Dr. Swaroop Datta, who, as sir said, is one of our most sought-after resource persons. Dr. Datta is the principal of MSM English School and Junior College, Malkapur, Maharashtra. He is the zonal training coordinator and master trainer for CBSE, covering Pune and Thiruvananthapuram. As the CBSE city coordinator for Buldhana district, he is the founder president of the Buldhana Sahodya School Complex and a member of the CBSE Affiliation Review Committee. Dr. Datta also serves as an advisor, academics and training for Zoom class technologies and is a mentor for the Vikram Sarabhai Science Foundation and CEIR Global. With over 2 decades of experience as a corporate trainer and inspirational speaker, Dr. Datta's career is highlighted by becoming India's first school principal to attain the status of a master black belt in Lean Six Sigma quality management. He is a certified green belt, global career counselor, and law of attraction master practitioner. His diverse expertise includes being a professional English trainer, authoring a grammar book series called Syntax, and overseeing organizational transformations in various fields. Dr. Datta has trained thousands of corporate employees and teachers, championing a shift from the pharmaceutical industry to the educational sector. He has received notable awards, including the Young Scientist Award in Homeopathic Science and the Singhania Education Excellence Award. As a life and consciousness coach, Dr. Datta is dedicated to providing high-quality education to rural schools in India, having prepared training modules and worked with prestigious institutions both within and outside India. He recently launched Best Careers Book, a company focused on career counseling, consultancy, and training services. Dr. Swaroop Datta's notable accomplishments have been celebrated on numerous prestigious platforms. Sir, on behalf of everyone present here, I welcome you and request you to take over the proceedings for the evening. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Sarita ma'am. And my gratitude to Abdul Salam sir for giving this opportunity to talk about this very important topic, National Credit Framework. So let me just share my screen and start it straight away. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir, it is.
Right. So we start with this topic, National credit framework. And, recently CBSE published a circular dated 30/11/2023, in which they announced the implementation of National Curriculum Framework in all CBSE schools from this year itself, that is 23-24. And it's very important now because we are already in the middle of the session to understand what National Credit Framework is at a wider or broader context, and then understand what CBSE has to talk about it and how it's going to be implemented in the CBSE affiliated schools. So during the introduction itself, it was very clearly announced that which are the organizations who have worked towards framing this framework. So it has been jointly done by the UGC, AICTE, the NCVET, that is National Council for Vocational Education and Training, the NCERT, the Department of School Education and Literacy, Department of Higher Education, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Central Board of Secondary Education, the National Institute of Open Schooling, and Directorate General of Training, that is DGT. So you can understand by the very introduction of this page itself that from school education to higher education to vocational education to ministries and AICTE, UGC, every organization has been roped in to frame this very important framework, because it's going to involve all the levels of education that we have in India. So to understand it better, let's first talk about the committee that framed this particular NCRF. So this is the person behind it, Dr. Nirmaljit Singh Kalsi. He's a retired IAS officer and presently the chairperson of NCVET, and even he was appointed as the chairperson for this high-level committee for the framing of the National Curriculum Framework. In fact, a few days back, I remember, it was not a few days, in fact, a few months back, a session was conducted by CBSE where Dr. Vishwajit Saha invited Dr. Kalsi to come over and address a group of principals on their YouTube channel. And Dr. Kalsi himself spoke about, the National Credit Framework. So since that is already available on YouTube, what I've done is I've preferred not to repeat what Dr. Kalsi said. In fact, I always in my sessions try to give you something that is reading in between the lines and a little bit different way of presenting the things, right? So now you can see the committee. It consists of people like Shri Manoj Ahuja, who was the then chairman, and then Dr. Vishwajit Saha, and Dr. Vinit Joshi, who is the Director General of NTA right now, and who was the chairman of CBSE once. And these people have been the real force behind framing this framework. So this is the signature page where I just wanted to point out the involvement of CBSE people over here. Dr. Kalsi, of course, is the chairman, and then we find over here Mrs. Nidhi Chibar, who is the chairperson of CBSE. Then we have Dr. Vishwajit Saha. So two people from CBSE have been a part of this framework when it was being designed. Now, this framework is supposed to act as a manifestation of the NEP. When the NEP was published in 2020, there were a lot of things that were told in the NEP, and we were wondering how these things will be implemented. So I have just given a snapshot of the NEP, claims that were made on NEP. That, for example, it was supposed to promote the critical thinking, formative assessments, multilingualism, multidisciplinary and holistic education, conceptual understanding, and experiential learning. So these were a few things that were spoken about in the National Education Policy. And there was also about a mention of no silos between streams, multiple exit and entry options. So all these things, people were wondering that on how it will be implemented, how the multiple entry and exit will work, how a person can seamlessly get transferred between the online mode of education to a physical mode, or from vocational stream to a general stream, and vice versa. So the NCRF gives an answer to all these questions, and it tells a way forward, it lays down a way forward so that we can understand that how these things will be implemented and implemented in the schools in particular. So the National Education Policy envisions making education more holistic and effective to lay emphasis on the integration of general or academic education, vocational education, and experiential learning, including relevant experience and proficiency in professional levels. Now, what this talks about is the NEP spoke about, education more holistic and integration of academic side along with vocational education, but it also spoke about something different. It was speaking about utilizing the experience people get in between their courses. For example, if I'm doing a graduation course and then I take a break for a couple of years and then want to get back to again education, these 2 years, it's not nothing is given as a credit, or a certificate is not issued. It's only an experience certificate that we get, which is not utilized in admission process in any institution. So here the NCRF talks about that as well. So not only a shifting of a candidate from general stream to vocational stream and vice versa, but also how to utilize the experience they get in between their education. If they're doing a job, if they're working somewhere, how to do it. The second thing is the National Credit Framework has been jointly developed by UGC, AICTE, NCVT, NIOS, CBSE, NCERT, DigiTree. So all these people have been a part of this policy. So the reason they have been a part of this policy is to ensure that the schools are not doing something different, and then it's not applicable to colleges, and the colleges are doing something different which is not applicable to the skill education sector. So it has to be a seamless movement between all these different sectors. So the NCRF is a method of how the manifestation of NEP to happen. Now we have to understand, when we go to NCRF, before we go out and to the technical side of NCRF, we have to understand the statistics of India. India is one of the youngest nation with 62% of its population in the working age group 15 to 59. So this is the age group which is considered as a young age group, and they are the productive age group, and 62% of the population of India is in this age group. After that, over 54% of its total population below 25 years of age. So think about it, more than half of the population of the country is below 25 years. So it's a young population. To reap this demographic dividend, India needs to equip its workforce with knowledge and employable skills. So, we have a young population, but what to do with it? Unless we make them productive, unless they come, and start contributing for the development of the nation, this young force, if it is not used, it is having a good resource which is not being used. That's of no use at all. So high quality educational opportunities and effective skilling has to be done. So only then we can utilize this young population for the benefit of the country. Then we have to understand that skilling is the need of the hour. 42% of the world population is young, with a global youth unemployment rate of 13%, which can be brought down drastically by skilling the youth. Now see look at this statistics. 42% of the world population is young, and youth unemployment rate is 13%. So we still have a huge chunk of youth who are not employed, and that's mainly because they don't have the skills to be employed. So here, if we want to employ these young age group, we have to give them the necessary skill, and that's what makes skilling so important. The Sustainable Developmental Goals have defined skill development requirement as to promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. So we are talking about the Sustainable Developmental Goals, and in that, skilling has again been given a lot of importance, mainly because if we want to go for work for all, if we want to give employment to every youth, then skill or skilling is the solution. So you see on this page, there is an overview of the whole thing. For example, the National Credit Framework is an umbrella, it's an inclusive umbrella. Why it's inclusive? Because it includes everything, from school education to higher education to vocational education, getting experience beyond the curriculum, and when not enrolled in certain courses. So that's a big umbrella. It recognizes blended and online learning. So not only the physical mode of learning, but NCRF is going to recognize the blended and online mode of learning as well. It's going to use technology extensively for the learning. As I said, it's jointly developed by all the major bodies, educational bodies of the country, and catering to multidisciplinary and holistic education, enabling multiple entry and multiple exit. It's a unified approach across the education and skilling framework. So education and skilling has been brought together under one umbrella. Ensures flexibility for students as per their talents and interest. So, in a way, our education system was very rigid. It does not allow a lot of movement, when you have already chosen a course. So once you have enrolled in a course, it was very difficult to come out of the course and do something different without losing your time or the year that you have already spent. So here, this NCRF is all set to give that flexibility to the learners who want to change their curriculum or course in the middle way, right? In the middle path. So if they want to change something, we are giving them option that yes, it's not like a journey there where there's no return. You can return, you can take a step. No, it's not like a step back. You can take a side step or a forward step. So you don't need to step back to change. The next thing is establishing academic equivalence between vocational and general education. So equivalence is very important. When you are planning to shift from one stream to another, it's very important for people to understand and recognize, and the authorities or the educational bodies to understand that these courses are of same value. For example, if I'm doing graduation in social science, and all of a sudden I feel like I want to do something in engineering, doors are closed. Why? Because engineering has a different entry procedure, and once I am doing graduation, I've already done 1 year in that 1 year I cannot use in the BTech course anymore. If I have to take admission, I have to start with zero again. So I have to take admission in BTech. That 1 year of my education in history or geography or English is gone, and then again I start from square zero, where I start as a first year candidate again. So this means that if I want to make a change, I cannot make a change without losing a year. So this is what is going to be stopped by the National Credit Framework, that you can make changes, or you can change your path without losing a year or without taking a step backwards. And the same value will be given. Most important, people will not say that this person has come from social studies, how can he do engineering? Or this person is from civil background of engineering, how he can do computer science or artificial intelligence. So this hard boundary or compartmentalization of certain courses are to be done away through this credit framework. And as in the introduction also very clearly it was mentioned that there will be something called Academic Bank of Credit, and we're going to learn more about what Academic Bank of Credits is, how it is going to operate, and what it is actually. Now, the terms of reference of the high level committee. Terms of reference of the high level committee. First is assign credit value to academic and skill courses taught at various levels. So credit values to be assigned in school education, credit values for higher education, credit value for skilling ecosystem or vocational training, and credit system also for distance or blended learning, etc. The second point is identifying ways of credit accumulation. So how credits can be accumulated in school education, in higher education, in vocational education and training. So not only how to allocate credits, but how to accumulate those credits as well. And then propose a credit transfer model. So credit transfer is from vocational and school education and vice versa, vocational and higher education and vice versa. So when you are already doing a skill course, how to get into a general education stream, or from a general education stream to a skill course. Why we are talking about skill courses so much? Because it has been realized of late that what used to happen in the 20th century is not applicable anymore in the 21st century. courses are not compartmentalized. For example, if you're doing artificial intelligence, it's not very different from doing, an engineering and data science. So artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning, deep learning, all these concepts that we talk about, blockchain, these are not existing as an isolated course. These are all connected to each other. So it's very probable that when a candidate is doing artificial intelligence for a particular job, he may need something from data science background as well. Or, let's say big data we are talking about these days. So someone who's doing AI or machine learning, they may need skill in big data. And when organizations are coming to hire candidates, they are looking for skill sets which will be required for a job role. So when we are hiring people in a job role, it's not very watertight compartment that yes, only AI people is needed, only machine learning people are needed, not like that. So someone who is having knowledge in AI may require something in the blockchain technology as well, maybe doing something in the big data as well. So these things are all interrelated. So we have to give the opportunity to the students so that they can learn across different streams in a very seamless manner, right? So next is establish academic equivalence between vocational and general education at all levels. Now, there is a blockage in mind of people, they don't treat vocational education at the same level of academic qualification. Now, when we are talking about this, I do understand every one of you will be facing the same difficulty, that how can someone who is doing ITI can be brought into the mainframe education of academics, or someone who is in mainframe academics or general line being shifted to vocational education. So this NCRF will set the mind, I would say rewire the mind of the people, where they're going to understand that two courses, whether it's a vocational course or a general course, there is no difference in terms of the respect that they should get. Every work or every stream is important, and we cannot say that this stream is more important than the other one, or academics is more important than vocational education. We cannot tell that. So it's very important to understand that and give the same respect to the subject that it should be given. Identify the mechanism of accumulation and storage of credits through credit bank. So I already told you that there will be something called academic bank of credit, and in this academic bank of credit, the credits that you earn will be stored. So NCRF will be a game changer in realizing the vision and intent of NEP by ensuring flexibility and mobility and establishing academic equivalence between general and vocational education while removing distinction between them. So general and vocational education, right now, they operate in a different way. They are looked upon or looked at with different levels of sense of respect, I would say, or importance, I would say, that some subjects are treated as more important or some streams are treated as more important. And that prevents any free movement. When you are not in the same level, when you're not considering courses in the same level, how can that movement happen? So to make the movement happen properly, you have to understand that movement will happen at equal levels. So when one thing is over here and the other one is here, the easy movement cannot happen. So both have to be at the same level, and then the movement or interaction or intermingling of things will work. So as long as we see vocational education as not so important, this is not going to work out. So National Credit Framework has given a lot of importance to skilling, because skill is something that is going to stay. And so far, we were banking more on academic qualifications, the degrees and the master's degrees and the PhDs. So all these things were treated as more important than learning a skill. But right now in the 21st century, we know that skilling has become so important that we need to treat them with the same respect that we treat any academic qualification. So NCRF provides assignment, accumulation, storage, transfer, and redemption of credits. So we will learn about credits. So when I'm talking about credits, those who are new to this word credit, I'll tell you what a credit is in a short while. But understand that these credits can be assigned and accumulated and stored and redeemed. It's like a coin. Let's say you earn points when you spend money on credit card. When you use your credit card, you earn credit points. So these credit points you can redeem. The same thing is going to happen with your academics. When you're studying, you keep earning points. And when you earn these points, it goes and stays with you in your academic credit bank. So this bank of credit will store all your credits, and then what to do with these credits? You can redeem it. How to redeem it? You will enter in a different course when you're taking admission in a different course, and you can give these credits and take admission in that course, right? It's going to promote multidisciplinary education, empower students through flexibility in choice of courses, own learning trajectories and programs the children will be able to maintain. So empower students by giving or offering them flexibility of any movement anywhere. I'll give you a detailed overview of that when I go to the different charts that I'm going to present to you. And then own learning trajectories. Now, what does this mean? Own learning trajectory. Own learning trajectory means I will complete the course at my pace, whenever I can. So some children may be fast-paced, they will complete it earlier, and some children may be slow-paced, they will complete it a little later. But it's not about how much time you take to complete. It's more about do you have those required skills after completing the course? So we are shifting from the marks mindset, shifting from just an examination mindset to get marks, to an examination or an assessment where you earn competencies, or you demonstrate your competencies in those assessments. So if you're competent enough, you go to the next level. If you're not competent enough, you can continue in the same level and earn those competencies that we require. NCRF fully supports opportunities to catch up and re-enter education ecosystem. So many of the children who drop out, many young educators, this young college goers, I would say, they drop out from colleges. The students drop out from schools, and then to get back into mainstream education is again a big challenge. Now here, the National Credit Framework will give an opportunity to these children, these young learners, to get into education system back again in a seamless way. And whatever time they have spent outside the school, outside the college, that will also be taken into account. That time span will not go waste. Educational acceleration for students with gifted learning abilities and recognition of prior learning for workforce. Now, these two are very important things that I've highlighted in the board. Educational acceleration. What does this mean? I remember when I took the session on NEP, and when these bands were being spoken about, that the foundation stage, the preparatory stage, the middle stage, and the secondary stage, that time I just shared my opinion that I felt somewhere these bands will allow a vertical movement of a child beyond the seat hour in the school. For example, a gifted child may not require to sit an entire year to complete the course of English in a school, because that's designed that way. I can complete, as a learner, I can complete the course in, let's say, 4 months. So why do I require to stay back another 8 months when I've already completed the required competency level at that particular grade? And why you are not allowing me to go higher up? So in the national education policy, when we gave this band of foundation, preparatory, middle school, that time itself, in my webinar, I shared with the educators that I'm getting a gut feeling that somehow this acceleration will be allowed. And National Credit Framework has done exactly that. It has allowed acceleration of these children where the seat time will be of no importance. The competency earned or learned will be more important. So if I'm if I'm competent enough, I've earned those competencies that is required at a particular level, I can fast pace my trajectory. At the same time, recognition of prior learning. So what is prior learning? Prior learning is, for example, Dr. Kalsi was sharing in his webinar, I remember, that he met a person whom he felt that is probably a B.Tech from a premium institute. And then he learned that he has not done any formal education at all. This person knows the skill by virtue of, having a family business in that particular domain. So he had a family business. He has not done any formal education. And when the job required someone to come and deliver, this was the person who came and delivered. Examples are also given that policemen these days, or the cyber crime cell, they use the service of these young hackers. These young hackers are not even qualified. Some of them have not even 10th standard pass. And then the police force is using their skill to track the criminals. Now, what does this mean? That we are not recognizing the efforts of these skilled individuals that we have in our country. We are having a young learning force, and this force, we are just letting them be like that. We are not, sometimes we are using it, but we are not giving them the respect or the mobility that they require to do something even better. So here, a recognition of prior learning. If you have learned something from family business, you have learned something from your daily work that you do, you have maybe not taken formal education, but still you can earn credits with the virtue of your prior knowledge. Then integration, progression, and mobility into formal education ecosystem from a non-formal and informal methods. So formal education is the institutions that we talk about, the schools, the colleges. The non-formal educations are, it's not like, let's say, these are still organized, but these are not formal educational bodies. So organized but not having formal education things, like I'll tell you an example. Like you do a course from an organization called Simply Learn. Simply Learn, you can Google up and check that they offer so many courses. Now, when you do a course from Simply Learn, it's not a recognized college or a university. It's a platform from where people, they educate themselves, they learn the skill, and they use it in their workplace. Simply Learn is respected globally. But then this is not a formal thing, it's a non-formal education system. Similarly, informal education system is something like homeschooling. Children are doing homeschooling and they're still learning the subjects. So that is informal education system. So there has to be a mobility from formal to non-formal, non-formal to informal, informal to formal, and all these three things should be interconnected to each other without stopping a child or a learner from going to another domain altogether by making it so watertight. So mobility and flexibility across any form of education. It's online education, blended learning, homeschooling, you have just earned the skill by doing some job. All these things should be interconnected, and that should allow you to earn your credits and redeem those credits for getting education, further education. Now we are talking about notional learning hours. Now, what does this notional learning hour mean? Across school education, higher education, and vocational education, training and skilling have been agreed to be 1,200 hours per year for the purpose of assignment of credit, for which the students or the learners shall be awarded 40 credits subject to assessment. So what is it telling? It's telling that for all different sectors, all different levels of education, whether it's a school education or a higher education or a vocational education, it has been agreed upon by all these people who are framing the national credit framework that we are going to have a fixed hour that is considered as a notional hour per year at a particular level. So what is that number, or how much is that number of hours? It's 1,200 hours. So 1,200 hours is a standard. From now on, it is going to be a standard across any domain, any education segment, as the number of years that you need to spend to learn that particular course in that year. So 1 year, 1,200 hours. And if you do that, you earn 40 credits. So how does this 40 come from, or where does it come from? All you need to do is you have to understand that this 1,200 hours is now divided by 30. So it's considered that 30 hours of learning is 1 credit. So 30 hours of learning is going to be 1 credit. So if you're learning 1,200 hours, divide 1,200 by 30 and you get 40 credits. As simple as that. So additional courses, programs, subject to projects beyond 40 hours, 40 credits, get additional credits for the same. So what does it mean? It means that, so 1,200 hours you're doing, you're getting 40 credits. Now, if you spend some more time, you take up some other course, you go beyond those 1,200 hours, then what can happen? You can earn more credits. How much? For every 30 hours, you get 1 more credit. So 1,200, 40 credits, 1,230, 41 credits, 1,260, 42 credits, and so on, right? So for every 30 hours, 1 credit point is, or 1 credit is earned. Additional courses programs will help you to earn additional credits, and no hard separation between different areas of learning. So you can keep accumulating these credits irrespective of the fact whether you're doing it from, a non-formal education system or a formal or a informal system. Now, when we talk about credits, the total learning hours of students or learners can be creditized subject to assessment. Now, you can get a credit not only by spending that 1200 hours in the classroom or outside the classroom. This 1200 hours has to be assessed. Unless there is an assessment, the credit will not be issued. So it's not only about spending 1200 hours to earn a credit, but it's also about getting assessed. And when you are passing that assessment, passing the assessment basically means you are demonstrating your competency at that particular level, you earn the credits. So the NCRF credits for 2 courses or qualifications or programs may be added to each other and accumulated in academic bank of credit if these are earned in the same assessment band, subject to the guidelines of the respective regulators. So again, it is said that if you are doing 2 different courses and 2 different courses are of the same band, I'll show you what a band is, what a level is when we go to the chart. So every education, let's say class 5 has a band, class 6 has a band, class 10 has a band, class 12 has a band, graduation has a band. So all these different layers of education, or I will say levels of education, they have been assigned bands. So if you're doing a course from one band and another course from another institute of the same band level, you can merge those credits and accumulate that in your ABC. Now you see, when I was talking about bands, what I really meant, right? For school education are up to level 4. So you see, this is the pyramid, the inverted pyramid. So preschool is level 1, class 6 to 8 is level 2, class 9 and 10 level 3, class 11 and 12 level 4, UG first year and UG second year level 5, UG third year and UG fourth year, that is undergraduation, it's level 6. Then PG first year and PG second year is level 7 and PhD is level 8. So all these levels have been assigned to different courses starting from preschool to PhD. So PG to PG, let's say playgroup to PhD. So for higher education, the NCRF level will be assigned for 4.5 to level 8. So undergraduate level is 4.5, 5, 5.5 and 6. So you see, for every year, 0.5 is getting increased. So undergraduate level, year 1 is 4.5, year 2, 5, year 3, 5.5, year 4, 6.0. So for every year, 0.5 credit level is getting increased. And in post-graduation, so after 6, it goes to 6, 6.5 and 7. And then PhD, it's directly a jump from 7 to 8, right? So vocational education and training also has been assigned the levels, and this level is also from 1 to 8. So you see, this is general education. In general education, the levels are from level 1 to level 8. Similarly, in vocational education also, the levels are from level 1 to level 8. So there are 8 levels that are going to be there. Total credit points. So what are these credit points? Total credit points earned by students in a particular year could be obtained by multiplying credits earned with the NCRF level at which the credits have been earned. Now, I understand it's becoming a little abstract for you. When I'm going to go to the next chart, everything will be crystal clear. So what it's telling is that credit points can be earned by multiplying the credit with the level. The credit points may be redeemed as per the guidelines issued in this regard for entry of admission in school, higher or technical or vocational education programs, courses at multiple levels, enabling horizontal and vertical mobility with various learners, entry and exit options. So here we will also see how the redemption of the credits are going to happen and how horizontal and vertical movement is going to take place. Now, all that I was talking about is now going to be demonstrated over here in this particular chart. Look at this chart very carefully and see what are the headings, academic bands or hours of learning per year. It starts from, like this preschool, you can see, right? Sorry. you can see right at the bottom. Just give me 1 minute. Let me see if I can hide my control. Yeah. So see, academic bands of hours or hours of learning per year, academic grade, the NCRF, NHEQF, that is National Higher Education Qualification Framework, NSQF, that is National Skill Qualification Credit Levels. These are the levels that we were talking about. So you see, when we talk about this level, start from preschool, 3 years. Preschool is of 3 years, like LK, nursery, KG1, KG2. And the level that has been assigned to it is 0.1. So this is the assigned level to pre-primary education. It has been mutually agreed upon and everyone decided that this 0.1 will be the figure. If you ask me how the 0.1 came from, there's no explanation to that. They have just decided for the ease of calculation that it will be 0.1 and they have assigned the credits based on these points that we are going to see. So 0.1 is going to be pre-primary, 0.2 is class 1, 0.4 is class 2, 0.6 class 3, 0.8 class 4, class 5 is 1. So you see, when the student is reaching class 5, his level is now at level 1. Class 6, 1.33, class 7, 1.67, class 8, 2. So class 5 is 1, class 8 is 2. Now relate to it with examinations that we conduct, the assessments that we take at grade 3 level, at grade 5 level, at grade 8 level, grade 10 level, right? So grade 8 is 2, then grade 9 is 2.5, grade 10 is 3, grade 11 is 3.5, grade 11 is 3.5 and grade 12 is 4. So this is where school education ends. It starts from 0.1 and goes to 4. And beyond school education, where school education ends, the higher education starts from there. So UG, first year is 4.5, second year 5, third year 5.5, fourth year 6. After UG, you go into PG, first year 6.5, second year 7. So it's increasing by 0.5. And then at the doctorate level, you are straight away getting one more additional level, that is level 8. And this is the final level across all the sectors, that is academic, higher education, and skill qualification. So you see all the 3 things are mentioned over there. National Credit Framework for higher education, skill education, and academic education. So this is where all the different streams have been brought under one umbrella. So this type of grading or credit levels have been assigned. Now credits earned per year, how you're going to see that. Now let's see what they're talking about is 27 into 3. So what is 27? You are earning 27 credits in a year not in a year, 27 credits in the entire 3 years journey of pre-primary. Now, can anyone tell me, let me see if you can understand this or not. Can anyone tell me, that you can put it in the chat box, that how, this 81 credits came in and how many hours we are actually spending in pre-primary. So 27 into 3, this 3 is multiplying with the number of years, LKG, UKG, and nursery. So this is multiplied by 3. And 27 is the credits earned. So 1 credit is how much? How many hours? And 27 credit is how many hours? Just let me know. If you can type it in the chat box and let me know how many hours. Let's see if you can answer it. I'm just waiting for it.
So we don't have any answers so far. 30 hours is 1 credit. That's
right. 30 hours. Yes, now we have got answers. 30 hours is 1 credit. So now if it's 27 credits, so how many hours? It's going to be a straight multiplication of 27 into 30. So 27 into 30 is how many hours? Calculate it quickly and you can understand. This is, the number of hours that is spent in pre-primary each year. So 27 multiplied by 30 is 810. 810 hours each year, and then multiplied by 3 is 81 credits. Now what we have done is 81 credits now multiply with the level. 81 credits earned in pre-primary multiply with the level. So 81 into 0.1. This is where 8.1 comes in. So you multiply the credits earned with the level to get the credit point. You see the next one now, and you try to do it yourself. So 27 credits are being earned in class 1, and the level is 0.2. So what is going to be the credit point? 27 into 0.2, that is 5.4. So I hope now you just take a close look, and I think you can clearly understand how this calculation has been done. So the level multiplied with the credits earned in that particular class will add, multiplied will go to the total credit points. So 33 credits multiplied by 0.8 comes to 26.4. So I'll just pause a moment over here, and let me just check if we are on the same page. Now, everyone understood the calculation that I tried to show you, how the calculation is happening. What is a level? These levels have been assigned by the authorities. So don't ask why it's 0.2 or 0.4. We have to understand that it is how they have defined it. Then the number of credits, straight away for 30 hours, we are getting 1 credit. So the number of credit multiplied by 30 is the hours spent in that particular class. And when we multiply the credit with the level of that particular class, we get the credit point, right? Is it clear, everyone? Crystal clear? Great. Fantastic. So if you have understood this, you have understood how the credit framework works, how the credit points are earned, right? Now we'll go to the next stage, academic bank of credit. So when you have earned the credit, where will this credit go? This credit will go to your bank, academic bank of credit, ABC. And it shall also be expanded to include credits earned through school education, vocational education, training, and skilling. So academic bank of credit will accumulate credits through school, vocational education, training, and also while they are doing job, when they are skilling themselves, they can still earn the credits, including apprenticeship, internship, project work, etc. And this credit bank, academic bank of credit, will be something that will be linked to your DigiLocker. So you can use the Aadhaar card just like DigiLocker. That will be a sort of a validation that will be done, and you can get an access to your academic bank of credit, which you can access like the DigiLocker that you have at the moment. So whenever you are earning the credits, it's directly going to your academic bank of credit, and you can log into your academic bank of credit like a DigiLocker and see how many credit points or credits you have accumulated. And while taking admission to the next higher course, you can redeem those credits and take admission. So NCRF enables creditization of experiential learning, including relevant experience and proficiency and professional levels required based on the weightage for the purpose subject to assessment. So as I said, someone who has not done formal schooling, but he knows how to repair an AC, he knows how to do a coding, but he has not formally educated himself. Here also, if he knows the skill, he can take an assessment based on his skill knowledge, clear that assessment, and go and earn the credit. So credits can be earned by just clearing that skill, which is required to for the assessment. For if you are able to do something hands-on, you are eligible to clear that band and earn the credit. So assignment of credits has also been enabled for online, digital, blended learning, especially in vocational education and skilling. So all the sectors have been given the same facility. Work experience will be taken into account.
So, Doctor, it is going to be on-demand exams, right?
Yes, absolutely. That's a very important thing that you said, on-demand exam. So, for example, if I am skilled in a particular domain and I want to appear for the assessment, I have to ask for it, right? That, yes, I think I am qualified enough, or I have the knowledge for this particular subject, and I want to assess myself. So take my assessment and let me in. So this is on-demand assessment that we are talking about for these people who are having experience but no formal qualification. So in school education, now we have to understand how this context came in right now. So what was the present scenario of the credit framework? In school education, there was nothing so-called credit system till now. Only the NIOS assigned each subject 240 hours of self-study. Total 5 subjects are required at and 17 at the secondary and senior secondary level, which makes 1200 hours. and 40 credits in 1 year. So NIOS had a system where they used to spend 1200 hours and earn 40 credits. Other than NIOS, no other school had any credit system at the moment. In higher education, it was a choice-based credit system, which we find in the engineering colleges. So different engineering colleges, they have this flexible credit system, fully flexible credit system, where they can choose the subject and accumulate the credit based on the subjects that they choose. Third is the skill assessment metrics from vocational advancement of youth. So this is called Samavay. You can take the abbreviation skills, S from skill, A from assessment, and so on. So skill assessment matrix for vocational advancement of youth. It was launched in 2014, November 2014, and it gives a framework for the NSQF, that is the National Skill Qualification Framework. That is how Samavay has also had his own credit system. So by looking at this page, you can understand NIOS has a different credit system. The higher education has a different credit system. The Samavay has a different credit system. So when these credit systems are so different from each other, there is no possibility of migration from one to the other one. So that is what paved the way for the National Credit Framework to allow that movement to happen from one domain to other. Because the credit system, if it's different in different domains, movement cannot happen. So Samavay breakup is something like this. For theory, 1 credit is 15 hours, and in practicals, 1 credit is 30 hours. And in experiential learning, 1 credit is 40 to 45 hours. That is how Samavay used to have it, the credit framework for Samavay. So the new framework that is being designed has been influenced by all these things, how the credit system was running in the country. They have taken in inputs from all these things and designed on their own something new. So UGC guideline again, it was said that for providing skill-based education under National Skill Qualification Framework, skill component would have been 60 to 70% and general education component 30 to 40%. That is how UGC defined it, that if you are planning to do a course and it's a skill course, 60 to 70% practical class, 30 to 40% will be soft skill, communication skill, digital skills, and so on. So you see, these things are or were so different from each other that was not allowing them to come under one umbrella. Next. Credit structure for autonomous institutions like IIT and IIM. Institutions like IITs and IIMs in India are autonomous, and each institute implements its own credit system, which broadly follow the similar system across all the institutes of IIT with a little difference. Semester-based credit system of study is evident in these institutions. Flexibility is allowed to students to progress at an optimum pace suited to their ability and convenience. So Indian Institute of Technology, Indian Institute of Management, they offer some level of flexibility to the students. Now you must be wondering why I am telling you these things, because we are talking about a CBSE circular. We are all school educators, but knowing only a part of the thing will not really help. If you have to understand the entire credit framework, you have to understand what goes beyond the school. Then only we can guide our children properly. If we do not know what is the credit system beyond the school education, then if a child asks that what I'm going to do in the future, can I drop out from 8th and do an ITI course? We are not in a position to guide the child. So when these questions will come, that can I do a ITI course after dropping from class 8? We can guide him that yes, you still have a way, or these many credit points you can earn, and you can come back to grade 11, back to the school again this way. So we have to have a thorough knowledge of how this works. And even in the higher education sectors like IIT and IIM. So NSQF is anchored in National Council for Vocational Education and Training. So NSQF is influenced and anchored by the NCVT. The NSQF initially had 10 levels, but now revised to 8 levels. Now, why it is revised to 8 levels? You can understand very well. Academic band has 8 levels, so the skill band also need to have 8 levels now. The NSQF is based on outcome-based approach, wherein each level is defined and described in terms of competency level that are to be achieved. So every level has a competency that has to be achieved, and skill framework has 8 levels, academic band has 8 levels. So the need for the National Credit Framework, the National Education Policy 2020 lays emphasis on the integration of general education, vocational education, training and skilling with provision of seamless horizontal and vertical mobility. So this is being allowed by the NCRF. This will lead to removal of distinction between general and vocational education, training and skilling, while at the same time enable establishing academic equivalence between the two. Now, I hope you can understand now why CBSE is paying so much importance for choosing vocational subjects from grade 6 onwards. Earlier, it was only 9th and 10th. Some schools used to choose the vocational subjects, and the purpose of choosing vocational subject was that in case the child fails in any of the 3 subjects of social, science, or maths, they can still pass the board exam if they take a skill subject. That is why most of the schools, they started choosing the skill subjects like IT or AI and things like that. But right now, you have to understand that though that is one advantage of choosing a skill subject in school, but the bigger advantage is that tomorrow the world is going to be operated by these skill courses. It can be a 6-month course, it can be a 1-year course, it can be a 3-month course. So unless and until we give a flexibility to our learners, they will not be able to do these courses and acquire the skill. The integration would also lead to emphasizing the dignity of labor and importance of various vocations. Now, we are not giving the dignity of labor in our country as such. Still in India, parents want their children to be doctors and engineers. Those who are not planning to become doctors and engineers, chartered accountant, IPS, IAS, these are only few careers that parents want their children to be in. And that has created a very, unequal shift of the learners from different domains to only towards one particular domain. And you can see how these competitive exams are now becoming a stress factor for our children. These competitive exams are preventing our children to coming to schools these days. I think every school leader will agree with me now that when these children are in 11th and 12th, they almost convert the schools into a dummy school. They go to these coaching institutes to get the training, and out of so many children, lakhs of children appearing, only few get through, and rest of them are, they go into a depression, or they go for a plan B, which is not suitable to their aptitude or intelligence at all at times. So this is where we have to understand that we cannot give respect to one profession and disrespect the other. So unless and until skill education is promoted, it's given the same status by the government, this will not happen. Even now, tell me honestly, how many of you can really think that someone from ITI is equivalent to someone who is doing regular school education? Someone is doing ITI after grade 8 and someone who's doing grade 9 and 10 appearing for the board exam. In our mind, we have this blockage somewhere that no, they are not equal. Someone who's doing ITI is inferior. So this thing has to be broken, and the next level is to be like everyone is equal. Once the government gives the importance, slowly we will discuss a few times. We will have our own objections, mental blockages, but ultimately after a few years, everyone will accept, yes, things are equal. So advantages of NCRF is removal of hard separation between education streams, establishing equivalence between general and vocational education, mobility between and within the general education and vocational education, so movement from one stream to another one, multiple layer of entry and exit, integration and intermingling of education, enabling creditization of learning for students with varying learning capacities. So some fast students can fast pace their learning, and someone who is a slow learner can slow pace their learning and still get the credits, and enable provision for recognition of prior learning. Now we have to understand what constitutes the learning hours. Now we are talking about 1200 hours per year. So what this 1200 hours comprises of? Classroom teaching learning hours, tutorials. Number 2 is lab work, practical, innovation labs, projects, incubation labs. Number 3, yearly and half-yearly examinations. It's not like only the teaching hour is added to those 1200 hours. If the child is taking an assessment, it's still adding to that hour. Whatever the child is doing in the school and beyond the school, it's going to add to that hour. So yearly examinations, class test, quiz, other assessment, it's going to add to that hour, right? Activities as a part of the curriculum, structured, leading to experiential learning, like relevant experience and proficiency, professional levels, performing arts, fine arts, music, handicraft, traditional heritage work, So, no, think about a child who is studying in your school, good in pottery, good in mural art. Now, we do not give any credit to that particular child except, oral appreciation. Right? He is a good artist, or he is, making some good pieces of art. But right now, what this NCRF is talking about is, with the virtue of his skill, he should earn credits, which he can redeem, right? Then debate and discussion, essay writing, recitation, story writing, all these things will add to the 1200 hours. Celebration of festivals in institutes like 15th August, 26th Jan, going to add to that credit hour. 1200 hour includes all these things. Music performance, drama, self-defense classes, value education, career counseling sessions, and also competitions like hackathons and Olympiads. So someone who was doing exceedingly well in your Olympiad exams, we did not know how to, give credit to that particular child in the school, except that he's getting a medal or a certificate from that Olympiad body. But what happens to his performance on his report card? Is it reflecting in the report card? No. So this NCRF is now talking about that even the Olympiad scores can reflect in the credit cards, report cards. Next, what constitutes learning hours? Again, sports, games, physical activity, yoga. Life skills based on education like employment skills, social and community work, like adult education, being attached with an NGO. Then the bagless days, field visits organized by the institutions, vocational education training, skilling, minor and major projects, work assignments, field visits, projects, industry attachment by institutions. So your school takes a child to a dairy farm, or let's say a steel factory, and some sort of learning happens over there. That those number of hours will also be counted in that 1200 hours of learning. Internship and apprenticeship hours, on-job training and experiential learning. So whatever the child is doing professionally, hands-on learning will add. Programs offered through blended online or digital learning. So if a child is doing something, let's say studying in your school and also doing Byju's, so that also will be adding to that 1200 hours, right? Or your school is running an online course, some learning management system software is there for the school, and the child is going back home and spending some time on that software. That also can be added to that 1200 hours, or this 1200 hours will include that also as well. So self-study, home assignment, only for open schooling or out of school students. Self-study is not given credit in the school education except for NIOS. So home assignment and self-study is given credit in open schooling, not in the regular schools or physical schools. Any other type of learning as may be notified by the regulators concerned. So any type of learning that is happening when the child is in school is going to add up and frame that 1200 hours per year that we are talking about. Now, multiple entry and multiple exit option. What does this mean? In case of multiple exit option, the students may require undertaking additional exit module over and above the 40 credits of learning undertaken, as will be prescribed by the concerned regulator. Now, if you see the example that is given down, you will understand that. A student clearing the assessment of first year UG programs and pursuing regular education moves to second year UG will be awarded 40 credits for first year of UG education. So 1 year I've completed in my graduation, the first year of graduation, I earn 40 credits, go to the second year. Now look at this second option. A student desirous of exiting after the first year of graduation will require to undertake an exit module of 4 credits subject to achieving the prescribed learning outcomes determined by successful assessment before being awarded UG certificate. The total credits earned by this student learner in this case will be 44. What is the meaning of this? I am going from first year to second year. I earn 40 credits and go to the second year. When I am planning to exit after my first year graduation, I'm planning an exit. I will tell I am planning an exit right now, and I will do 4 additional credits. I will do some 4 additional credit point and add it to my 40. This balance of 40 credits. So 4 credit means 4 into 30. I will do something additional for 120 hours. And this 120 hours will give me 4 credits. and these 4 credits will be added to my original 40 credits. That will make me 44 credits, and with this 44 credits, I can exit after graduation level year 1. First year graduation done, 44 credits I have earned, I exit, and when I want to come back to year 2, I will need these 44 credits and go to the year 2 after that. So who was not dropping out can move from the level 1 to level 2 or year 1 to year 2 with 40 credits. If I'm planning an exit after year 1, I will earn 44 credits, exit, and come back again. Now, this is a very important diagram that has been given in the NCRF document. And you see that how this is a 3-dimensional figure where 3 different things have been made equivalent. For example, this is the academic axis, which I'm pointing at right now, starting from preschool to PhD. Then this is the NCRF credit level of skill education. So this is the second one. So one side is academic, one side is the skill education, and the third axis, this one, is the proficiency or experience earned by doing some work, job, internship, etc. So you see, if someone is doing more than or equal to 1 year is considered as trained, 1 to 4 years proficient, 4 to 7 years expert, 7 years plus is a master. So this is again 3 different things, that is experience, general education qualification, and skill education qualification have been brought under one umbrella and in one graph, so that we can relate to each other and shift from one to another one. Now, what happens when you have experience? What is going to work out differently? So you see, I talked about 4 levels. In the previous slide, if you go, you see 4 levels are there: trained, proficient, expert, and master. Now see, in the level 1, when you are already a trained person, there is 1 year experience, weightage is 1. When you are proficient, weightage is 1.33. When you are expert, weightage is 1.67. And when you are master, the weightage is 2. Now, how does it help, or how does it help the calculation? So example, if you see a learner who has undertaken training for 1200 hours, 40 credits of level 3 program, attains 120 credit points, that is 40 into 3. So 40 credits, the level was 3, the calculation we saw earlier. So 40 into 3, the credit points will be 120. Presumably that this candidate works in a related field for 3 years, then the overall credit points earned shall be 120 into 1.33. Why 1.33? Because proficient, if you see what was proficient, proficient is 1 to 4 years. So the person has worked for 3 years. So 3 years means proficient level 1.33. So you multiply 120 with 1.33, which is because of the experience he earned outside. This is not when he is studying, but he has earned the experience. So his credit points are getting multiplied with his experience. And now the total credit point is 159.6 and rounded up to 160 credit point. So see, 120 credits he earned by the virtue of his education. And the remaining 40 credits he earned by the virtue of getting multiplied with this 3 years of professional job experience that he has earned. So now you can see very well that if you're doing a job, even after completing a course, your credits will get multiplied by multiplying with this weightage that has been given to different years of experience that you get. So the highest you can get is multiplied by 2. So if this person would have worked for more than, let's say, 7 years, more than 7 years, and he's a master's level, so what he would have done, he would have earned 120 credits, worked for 7 years. So 120 into 2, his credit point would have been straight away 240. So 240 credits he is earning just by working without even studying somewhere, right? So this is how the professional experience is going to count. So just very quickly, whatever we have covered, just as a snapshot, I would say, notional learning hours, we know that 1200 learning hours is considered as 1 year learning. 30 hours will go to 1 credit. So in 1 year, 40 credits are earned. Credit levels in the school level is starting from 0.1 to 4. And in undergraduation level, it's 4.5 to 6. Post-graduation level, 6 to 7. And in PhD level, it's 8. And in the vocational education also, we have got 8 levels starting from 1 to level 8. Academic bank of credit is where the credit is stored. And that can be transferred from ABC to our institutions who is ready to accept those credits for further education. And digital storage, the ABC will be a digitally stored storage platform like a DigiLocker, and it will be linked with the DigiLocker. Next. So this is how we have to understand that in school education, higher education, and vocational education, 4 different segments will be there. That is knowledge, factual, conceptual, cognitive, metacognitive, skills, language, communication skills, professional learning, and aptitude. So knowledge, skill, professional learning, and aptitude, these are the 4 areas which a learner need to develop. And all the credit framework, the calculations that we are seeing is something to promote that, something to make that happen. Now in school education, again, you will find a chart like this, number of years of education, stages of the education, like, from grade 3, 5, 8, or pre-primary, all these things will be there. And then you see school education grade passed, so how much score or credits they are earning. And here it is talking about higher education programs or general education credits earned. So if they are earning any credit over here for higher education, so it's all NA, because from grade 1 or 2 you cannot go to higher education straight away. Similarly, for vocational education, like long-term courses, we don't earn any credit from school, and you cannot do directly long-term courses of vocational education directly from the school. So it's NA over here. Similarly, short-term entry criteria, any short-term training that is given by NSQF, can we go from school? Again, not at this level. In addition to column 7, Foundation Literacy and Numeracy at NSQF level 1 through NIOS for grade 5 certificate. Now you see over here, you can earn a grade 5 certificate after you have completed grade 3 in school and taken a break. So you can go and get your certificate. This will be the additional qualification required for entry at a particular level, and this will define that if you want to take admission in grade 8, what you require. Similarly, if you see over here, in middle school, we're going to now go to the high school structure, let's say. In high school, 1200 hours, in addition to column 6. So column 6 is 8th grade pass plus 1 year of vocational education and training. So this is what the condition of the child is right now. 8th grade pass plus 1 year of vocational education and training. So when he has already got that, and in addition to that, he learns the language through NIOS for 9th certification. So 8th grade with ITI and 1 year experience adds 240 hours of language training and can take admission in grade 9. So you see, general qualification was grade 8. Then he shifted to ITI. Then he wants to come back to grade 9. All that he needs to do is add 240 hours of language training through NIOS and take a 9th certificate. So this is how the entire framework will operate. The column 8 will tell you every time, if you see the different columns that is there in the National Credit Framework, every time it will tell you that what the student needs to do to earn the next higher level certificate. That's it. So these are all different structures that has been shown over here. I don't want to go in detail of that because you can read it at your leisure and you will be understanding. The column 8 will define how to get the next level from where you are right now. And these 2 levels are what is the requirement to do a long-term course and what is the requirement to do a short-term course. So if I have done a UG course year 1, I want to add a AI certification course, it will give you the requirement over here, right? Now, these are the levels. Again, I will not cover in detail because I have already spoken about that at length. Pre-primary to senior secondary, the number of hours to be spent. You see pre-primary, 800 hours to be spent every year. Primary school 1 to 5, 800 hours. And then you see from grade 1 to 5, class 3 onwards, it's going to be 1000 hours. So till grade 1 and grade 2, 800 hours per year, and they're going to earn 27 credits. Grade 3 will earn 33 credits. From middle school, that is from 6th onwards, they will start earning 40 credits. That will also have a credit level, And when you multiply the number of credit with the credit level, you get the credit points. So this is the same thing across all the different levels. Academic level, again, the same thing is shown over here. I don't think there will be any difficulty in that. Now you talk about credit accumulation. In credit accumulation, look at this box. A learner completing grade 11 and grade 12 from regular schooling earns 40 credits for each grade. So 11th, he gets 40 credits. 12th, he gets 40 credits. The credit point accumulated by learner would be 3.5 into 40 in 11. Why? Because in 11, the level is 3.5. So 3.5 into credits earns is 140. And similarly, in 12, the level is 4. So 4 into 40 is 160. So credit point that he will get after 2 years of 11th and 12th is 140 plus 160, that is equal to 300. So after completing 11th and 12th, the child will be left with 300 credit points in his digital locker. Credit transfer. As I said, institution A, you earn the credits from here and it goes to your credit bank. Then you want to take admission in institution B. If institution B accepts the credits issued by institution A, you can redeem and take admission. Now here there is a thing that we need to understand, that with the credit thing, you cannot just go and take admission anywhere. If you think that I'm doing graduation in a general college and I want to go into IIT, it's not going to be like that. You can definitely go into IIT. No one is going to stop you from that. But you need to clear assessments before you get into an IIT. Either that or IIT should be ready to accept the credits offered by your previous institution. If that happens, only then you can move from your, whatever the school you are or college you are in to an IIT or an IIM or a higher education institution. So establishing academic equivalence, the first year of EUG and first year of BE or BTech to be treated equivalent for seeking admission in the second year UG program with or without the bridge course. So if you're completing 1 year UG, you can take admission in second year in any other colleges as well. So this is what is being spoken about in establishing academic equivalence. One institution should value the degree or the credits given by the other institution for the movement to happen. Multiple entry and exit, I already spoken about that right now. If you have to earn additional credit points to go for an exit and then redeem those credit points to get back into the college. The second thing is, if you complete 1 year, you are going to get a certificate, diploma after 2 years, bachelor's degree in 3 years, and bachelor's degree with honors or engineering degree after 4 years. So every year you have an exit option. You complete 1 year, you get a certificate, provided you pass the assessment. Second year you complete, you get a diploma. So like that, no year spent in college will go in vain. International mobility, when we are talking about the Washington Accord, the Bologna process, the Global Convention, the Sydney Accord, the Dublin Accord. All these accords are bodies which give importance or value to Indian qualifications or qualifications across different countries. So India is already a part of many of these accords, and our credit points earned from Indian institutions will be respected in different institutions across the globe through these accords. So framework to implement NCRF in school. There are two things, 2 years of secondary and 2 years of senior secondary. Now I'm coming now back to the circular that we have. This is a image from the CBSE circular. And let me just point out, there have been a lot of errors that I have found in the circular itself. So when you're reading the circular, keep in mind it's not error free. I will point that out to CBSE because when I was preparing this PPT, I encountered those errors and found that probably it's a careless error. Somewhere they have missed out. But I'll tell you what exactly is the real thing over here. So 2 years of secondary and 2 years of senior secondary, class 9th, class 10th, and you see vocational education and long-term training, short-term training. So when we talk about this, so class 9, anyone who has completed class 8 and 1 year of NTC or NSC certification is there from NSQF, which is of level 2.5, can take admission in grade 9. So you may get candidates in future like this, someone who is coming after completing grade 8 and a certificate of NSC. You cannot refuse that. You cannot tell that I'm not going to take admission, because now the credit framework is asking you to do it. And it's not going to happen from next year. It's going to happen from this year itself. So you will very soon encounter these type of people can come, with the certification of NSC, NTC, and seek admission in your 9th or 10th. Similarly, in class 10th, 8th plus 2-year NTC or NSC, NSQF level. So 1 year you get admission in class 9. If he has a 2-year NTC or NSC certificate, he gets admission in straight away in class 10th. You cannot refuse these admissions again. So the CBSE direct admission policy that is there, that also will be modified to accommodate these children. Because now in direct admission policy, we have a lot of things that we do not take direct admission based on certain things. So that direct admission process is also going to be modified. Similarly, in senior secondary, class 11 has to be like class 10th pass plus 1 year of NTC, NSC or CITS. These are all certification of NSQF. And class 12, 10th plus 2 years of NTC, NSC and CITS. Now, what does it mean? In class 12, you can have someone who have done class 10th, not done class 11th in any school. He has gone and done something in the NTC or NSC certification and now wants to come back and join 12. He should be allowed. So this type of certification is paving the way from exiting after grade 10, doing 11th, not doing 11th, doing some ITI course or something like that, and coming back to 12th again. Now, credit framework levels 2.5, 3, 3.5, and 4. Credit points earned 40 for each. So you can understand very clearly 14 to 30, that is 1200 hours of education at each level. And credit points earned will be level multiplied by credits, that is 160, 140, 120, and 100. So this is how the credit points are earned at the school level. Now, key points, how credit level is going, or credit framework is going to help the school and what you can drive. 75% of the attendance can be made mandatory across any class. You can tell very clearly if you're not completing 1200 hours in the school, the way it has been told, the child may not be allowed to appear in the assessment at all, right? So 75% of the attendance, which is a burning problem in many schools these days, children are not coming to school in grade 9 and grade 10. They are freely absenting themselves. They are not participating in the daily school activities. They can be mandated that with this policy, you have to come to school and 75% attendance is mandatory. If you do not do it, we can stop you from appearing in the assessment itself. Number 2, the hours allocated to each academic year and credits earned per year may be fixed. So it is fixed, 1200 hours, 40 credits. In scheme of studies, credits and hours for each subject to be mentioned. So when we have a scheme of study, you go to CBSE academic website, you go to the scheme of study, you will find over there that, a number of hours is fixed and the credits also will now be mentioned. Hours may be allocated for each topic or concept. Now, when you have the syllabus, we will be mentioning number of hours for each topic. So how much hours will be one topic, subtopic, and so on. So total learning hours per subject in school is 160 hours. Minimum of 40 to 50 hours per subject is earned for project work, thus totaling 210 hours. So for each subject now, CBSE is talking about 210 hours to be allotted. The credit shall reflect in the mark statement or grade card. So whatever credit the child is earning will be reflected in the mark statement. The credits earned will be deposited in the Academic Bank of Credit linked with the DigiLocker. Credits can be earned in full or no credit. That means either you get the credit by passing the exam or you don't get credit at all if you don't pass the exam. You cannot have a 0.5 credit or something like that. Credits earned will be independent of the marks obtained. So whatever is the marks does not matter. Your credit will be given to you. If you have completed the assessment and you have passed that assessment, the number of credit will be same. So if someone is getting 95%, he is getting 40 credits. Someone who is getting a 70% also gets a 40 credit. Someone with a 33% also gets 40 credits. Implementing NCRF in CBSE schools. So CBSE is planning to implement NCRF from present session 2023-24. So in class 9 and 11, it will be implemented in 23-24. And in 10 and 12, it will be implemented from 24-25. Each subject allocated 210 notional hours worth 7 credits. So 210 credits divided by 30 is 7. So for each subject, 7 credits are to be given. Hours allocated to each chapter and further bifurcated into hours of theory and practical. So 210 credits for each subject, 210 hours for each subject, which is 7 credit, and then you calculate for 5 subjects how many you are getting. So this is the calculation. Total 5 subjects in the present existing scheme. So we are going to talk about the existing scheme and what is the proposed scheme. In existing scheme of class 11, there are 5 subjects, 2 language and 3 main subject. 210 hours per subject. So 210 into 5 is 1050 hours. And 150 hours, that is 1200 hours. To make 1200 hours, 1050 has to be added with 150. So this 150 hours is from health and physical education, work experience, and art education. Health and physical education will have 60 hours, 30 hours for work experience, and art education 60 hours. So 7 credits per subject. Health and physical education and art education 2 credits each, and work experience 1 credit. So total credits will be 40. 5 subjects, 7 credit per subject is 35, and 5 credits that is coming from 2 from HPE, 2 from art education, and 1 credit from work experience. So that makes total 40 credits. If the child takes additional 6th and 7th subject, the credit will be given to the child provided he passes the 6th or the 7th subject. So if the child passes 6 subjects, he will be given 7 more credits. So 47. If he passes with 7 subjects, he will be given 7 more credits, and he will pass with 54 credits. So 40 plus 7 plus 7, that makes it 54. Allocation of credit will be like this. Language 1, 210 minutes, 7 credits. Language 2, 210 minutes, 7 credits. So 210 divided by 30 is 7, right? And this will be the marks, right? Marks out of what the score is being given. So 90 credits for health and physical education, and 60 credits for 60 hours for art education. And these are the credits, 3, 2. So this is how the credit system is allocated right now. Number of hours and number of credits allotted. That makes between 40 to 54, depending on 6 or 7 subjects taken. Sample mark statement is going to look like this. Subject code, theory, practical marks, total marks, grade obtained, and credits earned. So you can see very clearly 40 credits are to be earned in the year, 7 for each subject, 2 for health and physical education, and 1 for art education. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this makes it 35. This 2, 37. This one, 38. Now this is the error I was talking about. It is 40, right? But the calculation adds up to 38. So you have missed over here something. What is that? Work experience also 2 credits. So then it will be 2 plus 2 plus 1. That will be 40. Similarly, in class 9, the proposed scheme is of 10 subjects. Like 5 subjects is there right now. NCF is talking about 10 subjects, 3 languages plus 7 subjects. And these 7 subjects are going to be maths, science, social science, art education, physical education, vocational education, and interdisciplinary areas, which is environmental studies. 120 hours for each language and interdisciplinary area. 150 hours will be devoted for math, science, social, and vocational education, and 60 hours for art education, physical education, and health and well-being. When you see the allocated credit, it will look like this. Languages, number of hours will be 120. For subjects, main subjects, it will be 150. Physical education, 60 hours. Art education, 60 hours. And the credits are given as per the number of hours. So 120 divided by 30 is 4. 150 divided by 30 is 5. So credits you are getting by straight away dividing by 30 hours, because 30 hours make 1 credit. So 1200 hours, 40 credits. Similarly, in class 11, present scheme is 5 subjects, 1 language, and 4 main subjects. 210 hours allocated to each subject. So 210 into 5 is 1050. And the remaining 150 hours to make 1200 comes from subjects of internal assessment like HPE, work experience, and general studies. HPE will be having 60 hours, 2 credits, work experience of 30 hours, 1 credit, and general studies of 60 hours, 2 credits. So all these things will add up to 40 credits. The proposed scheme of CBSE for different groups is now 2 languages from group 1. 1 at least has to be a native of India. So in grade 12, if you're choosing a subject, this is not existing. It is going to come now, proposed scheme. So in proposed scheme, 1 language, you can choose, let's say English. The other one, at least one, has to be Indian origin, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, whatever. You can choose both the languages as well, which is of Indian origin. There's no bar for that, right? So here also 2 languages, both you can choose native. But if you're choosing one as in English or French or German, at least one has to be Indian. Now in group 2 and group 3 and group 4, from these groups, you have to choose the remaining 4 subjects. So group 2 will have art education, physical education, vocational education. Group 3 will have social science and interdisciplinary area. And group 4 will have mathematics, computational science, and science. So out of these subjects, 2 you are choosing language, and 3 remaining 4 you can choose from any of these groups. It can be a mix, or it can be from one group also. It can be a mix of all the 3 groups also. So right now 11th and 12th we are doing with 5 subjects. With the new proposed scheme, it will be at least 6 subjects. And the proposed scheme, the marking system will be like this, hours wise. So subject 1, language 1 and language 2 will be given 180 hours in a year and will be given 6 credits. Subject 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7 is optional. So we said 2 languages and 4 more subjects. So 2 languages and 4 more subjects will be 210 minutes each, 7 credits each. And if it's an optional 7th subject the child is taking, then another 7 credit points can be earned with that, and the total credit point will go to 47 credits. So 1200 hours, and it can be either 40 credits if the child is taking 6 subjects and 47 credits if the child is taking 7 subjects. This will be the grading system. We all know about it. It's an octile system where top 1/8 comes in A1, next one comes in A2, and so on, right? It's a sample curriculum now. How it's going to look like. It's a subject retail, employability skill, chapter-wise divided, number of hours has been allocated, and maximum marks has been allocated. So when lesson plans are going to be made, you can see that how the curriculum has to be planned by allotting number of hours topic-wise and keeping that number of hours as per the NCRF. So these are all different samples that has been given in the annexure. You can go through the samples and understand very clearly that how many hours are to be allocated for each topic, each subject, and then how much marks you can allocate to that. So to sum up now, very quickly, the main features of the National Credit Framework is a standardized credit system, learning outcome-based assessment. So we are not now talking about marks, we are talking about the learning outcome, we are talking about competency, flexibility and choice, and recognition of prior learning. Implementation of NCRF can happen by policy reforms, which is already happening. Teachers training, right now we are going through a teachers training right now itself. So all of you who are attending this conference or webinar, they can understand that what a credit framework is going to be like, and more such extensive trainings are required. Curriculum mapping the curriculum with the number of hours and marks and how much credit for each hour can be given, and stakeholder collaboration. All successful implementation of NCRF relies on close collaboration between educational institutions, policymakers, and industry stakeholders. Implementation of NCRF in CBSE school, we have to think about faculty empowerment, curriculum integration, and assessment reforms. So finally, we come to the end of this NCRF presentation. I can understand that it's not like a normal webinar where you get things very clearly and understand very quickly. We're talking about academics or pedagogy. It's a completely new thing that we spoke about today. Retention at times will be little difficult, but I hope you have a lot of things that you can take home. You can watch this webinar again by pausing it when you need to. We have very clearly come to an understanding that there will be a lot of movement between different segments. 1200 hours will be allocated for a particular year. 30 hours will be going for 1 credit. How is the calculation of credit points made? By multiplying credits with the level of that the year that the child is in, and how these credit points are accumulated in Academic Bank of Credit, how the Academic Bank of Credit can be redeemed by different institutions if they recognize that qualification, not only nationally, but also internationally. How a child can approach you by passing grade, let's say 3, and seeking admission in grade 5 with something that he has done out of the school. And we are supposed to admit those children as well right now. How a child is going to come to take admission in grade 10 or grade 12 who has not done grade 11 or who has not done grade 9 and coming to the school to take admission in grade 10 or 12 directly. So these things are going to happen. Your children are going to ask you that if I exit from grade 9 and go to ITI and do something over there, do I still stand a chance to do 12th from a regular school again? So these answers you educators will now be able to answer, I hope. And then someone asks you, if I do some job after I complete my schooling, how it is going to impact me. So I showed you straight away the credit points can be multiplied with those 4 levels of experience, and straight away the credit points or number of credits will get increased. So with that, I have shared my understanding of the NCRF, which I went through different documents and gathered. Now, if there is any question or you need any more clarity, please feel free to ask me. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Hats off to the amazing amount of research and hard work that has gone into preparing this PPT and sharing, because as you said, it is quite technical and it is very, very comprehensive. It takes some time for us to understand and, to get really into the intricacies of this. Thank you so much for all the diligent effort that you have put in. Hats off to that once again, sir. So participants, if you have any questions, sir will be more than happy to answer those. You may raise your hand, we'll unmute you. In the meanwhile, sir, I had some questions coming up in the chat box as well as in the question answer. May I ask those?
Yeah, sure.
Nupur ma'am, could you please wait, if you don't mind? So the first question that comes over here is, does it mean that the assessments will be connected to the credits awarded?
Yes. If there is no assessment, no credits will be earned. As simple as that. It said that only spending hours is not enough. If you are assessed and you clear the assessment, then only the credit will be added to your credit bank.
Okay, I hope the doubt has been dispelled. So the other question is, if a learner shifts from social science to engineering, how will he manage in second year of engineering without understanding the basic concepts that he's supposed to learn in first year?
Right. So, just tell me now, for example, if you are doing social science and you want to go into engineering domain, let's say that is the case which has been asked, right? So since you have not studied engineering at the level year 1, does it mean that you cannot study at your home or, non-formal mode or informal mode? You can still do it, right? So you can get the updated knowledge about that particular year. And remember what I told, that every time you're going to seek admission in the next higher level, there are certain criteria that whether you have completed this, and then you need to clear an assessment also. So once you are appearing for engineering this year 2, you have to clear an assessment and take admission. To clear the assessment, you have to do your background work. Only then you will be able. So we are not stopping you, but that does not mean that we will pick you up from there and make you sit in year 2 straight away. You have to work hard for it, get the knowledge, get the competence, and then go there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. When will the schools incorporate this system? And what is the possibility that private schools will also go ahead with this?
Right now, it has started. There is no second thought to it. The circular was rolled out in the month of November, 30th November, right? So it's high time that you start implementing it. And now what needs to be implemented? What you need to do is right now, last webinar I shared my thoughts on holistic progress card. So right now what I'm doing silently is to the holistic progress card also adding the credit points. This is the first thing that we need to do. In our report card, whether it's a holistic report card or whatever report card you have, start adding the credit points, at least in grade 9 and grade 11. Because it is said that this year, grade 9 and grade 11 implementation start. Now, if you do not do it, what will happen? If you do not do it, I'm pretty sure next year, CBSE will ask you, submit the credit points earned by the student in grade 9. And if you do not do it, you will be left with the blank hands. Because this credit point of 9th and 10th is going to be accumulated, and then it will go to the credit bank. So CBSE will give a form where you need to submit, like the LOC or something like that, where the credits also have to be mentioned. So start working on it. Use this webinar recording and see how the report card, I share the sample report card, start making the report card based on the number of hours that you allocate.
Thank you, sir. So basically, schools don't have a choice. They will have to abide by the rules as early as possible this year itself, right?
Right.
Yeah. So if in case a child leaves the school after standard 7 and comes back with the required number of credit points to take admission in class 7, do we have to conduct any test for admitting him? Does age not
Can you
matter
repeat the
here?
question, ma'am? It was not very
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah, in case a child leaves the school after standard 7 and comes back with the required number of credit points to take admission, do we have to conduct any test? Does age not matter here?
Right. So when we are talking about that, I have shared with you that format, if you remember. I'll very quickly show you again how you're going to look at that. It's very important to understand that format, which I shared earlier. I'll just show you that movement part. 1 minute. It's moving very slow, but just bear with me. Yeah, give me 1 moment. Yes. Now, see this. Yeah, see this now. So which level the child has exited?
Class 7.
Class 7th. So this is grade 7th, right? So what is required? Grade 7 required and 40 credits are required. So this is 1.67 level. Now, if he has exited grade 7 and which class is now trying to get admitted in?
Class 8.
Class 8. So in all these columns, in addition to column 7, that is column 7 is no formal education ability to read and write whenever job requires. So this is short-term training. We're not talking about that. We're talking about, in addition to column 7, advanced literacy and numeracy skill at NSQF level 2 through NIOS for grade 8 certification. So when a child is coming from grade 7 to grade 8, there is no formal requirement because 7th he has already earned the credit points. But let's talk about when he's skipping a year. 7th to 8th migration is not difficult because 7th to admission in class 8, 7th is the lowest criteria. Now, when we are talking about admission to grade 8 from grade 6, so admission to grade 8 from grade 6, what he has to do in this 1 year, what the child has done. In addition to column 7, advanced literacy numeracy skill at NSQF level 2 through NIOS, so he has to do something from NIOS to get the grade 8 certification. So he can exit, but by exiting, he cannot sit idle. He has to do something.
Cannot have a free entry.
Yes.
It
So
cannot be a
every
free
time
entry.
this column 8 is going to be a guiding point. Whenever you want to check that how to get admission in the next level, come to column 8 of this chart. And that will help you understand, how to take admission in the next particular level.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I hope the doubt has been clarified.
But
Now we will
doctor,
be
1
ready.
minute. NIS does not have an assessment at grade 8 or 9.
Yeah,
They are directly assessed at grade 10, no?
Right. 9th assessment, right now what they're doing is they will make changes in that assessment also, because I told you that a lot of assessment changes are going to happen, because here it will be an on-demand assessment again.
Achha.
If I'm trying to go to a next level, so on-demand assessments will be allowed in NIOS.
Okay.
So that is the probability. If that is not done, then probably they will keep some other criteria where you are skipping a level and going to the next level. So some sort of entry test, some sort of bridge course that will be required. So Dr. Kalsi was telling in the webinar that in case someone is skipping a level, that does not mean that he can take admission wherever he wants. He has to get the competency, and that competency can be checked by the institution. You can have an assessment, entry test, you can have a bridge course, and then allow. If it is not done through NIOS, does not matter. The school can have their own bridge course if they want, right? And then they can give entry to the child.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, participants. Now we'll be happy to take questions which you would like to ask the resource person directly. Do we have any questions? Please raise your hand so that we can unmute you. We don't have any participants. So in the meanwhile, I have another question.
Yeah.
What will be the role of the school for choosing vocational courses or changing streams?
Yeah, No, the role of the school is they will have to come up with creative subject combination. In this document of NCRF, continuously they're referring to this term of creative subject combination. So creative subject combination is the school has to understand the local need. And after understanding the local need, they have to, offer those subjects. And the child will take admission based on the subjects that you're offering. Let's say school A and school B is located in the same locality. The child will now choose that which school is offering me the subject combination I want, and then take admission. So the schools, private schools or government school does not matter. To get admissions, they will have to have a proper subject combination that they have to highlight and offer, and the children will be coming because of that combination only.
So which will entail more recruitments also.
Yes, more recruitments, more skill education. People will be, recruited in the schools. So a lot of jobs are going to be definitely created in the schools as
Absolutely, absolutely. Ms. Tarkeshwari has raised her hand. You may unmute yourself. We have unmuted you, ma'am. You may ask your question.
Okay, good evening. Am I audible?
well. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, I want to know what type of documentation is required for this, because now SQA is also in picture. Is this also included in the SQA, or what kind of registry we have to maintain for this? And for how many classes?
So see, what we are talking about is in the 1200 hours, documentation is automatically happening in the way, in form of keeping records. You're keeping a record, right? You're transacting classes, you're giving projects, you're giving homeworks. So all these records are automatically maintained. The thing is, when you are doing it at the school level, for school reference, you need document. But when you're planning for going to the next higher level, for example, a child has exited and then wants to come back, he needs to keep his own records. For example, if he has done some job somewhere, he has worked, studied in ITI or any vocational course or a skill subject, they need to keep the documentation and they need to produce in the school. And as far as the school documentation is concerned, you just need to keep the records of the number of hours and the number of credits that are being given to the children. And when you're planning the subjects, curriculum, you need to assign number of hours based on the total number of hours that is allotted to each subject. So 210 hours for one subject. So how you're going to break it up in chapters, that record you can keep. And do not get confused with the SQA thing, because SQA is a different thing. It's a quality thing. And here it is more about assigning credit, which is directly related to the number of hours spent and assessment taken divided by 30. That's it.
It all starts from scheme of work, right, doctor?
Yes, absolutely.
Tarkeshwari ma'am, I hope sir has clarified your doubt. Sonali ma'am, you may unmute yourself.
Yeah, ma'am. Just now, sir was talking about the report card, sample report card. So, can we get it so that we can work for our school?
Can you? Sorry, what you said?
Sample report card, which you shared just now. You said.
Yeah. Right. You can make a similar report card for your school. See,
So-
sample report card is nothing different. What it is doing is just adding credits. That's it.
Okay, so can we get one soft copy or any hard copy?
Yeah, why
like
not?
this?
See, I'll tell you where it is.
How can I get it?
This document, the CBSE circular I was talking about. This CBSE
Okay.
circular, you take it out and the sample report card is given on page number 5th sheet. In the 5th sheet itself, the sample report card has been given like this.
Okay, sir.
visible or not?
Okay. Yes,
get
yes. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Right.
So this is from the, okay, Nupur ma'am, you may please unmute yourself. Nupur ma'am, you may ask your question.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Sir, I wanted to ask, like, in this frame of things with the credit system and all that, will the paper pattern and assessment of CBSE, like for class 10 and 12, will it remain the same?
It cannot remain same.
Yeah.
Why it cannot remain same? Because here we are talking about competencies that has to be earned, right? We are talking about people coming from informal or non-formal education to formal education as well. So here we do not need, assessment based on rote learning. We are talking about assessments where the competency will be checked, because you are going to move from one level to another level based only on competency factor. So rote learning will now take a backseat. We have been talking about rote learning should not be there, but nothing was done. As long as the examination system remained the same, rote learning still exists, right? No matter how hard we talk about Bloom's taxonomy and all these things, rote learning and remembering plays a major part of the education system, because we are testing the children on the rote learning itself. The questions are like that, and it's mark driven. Now we are going from a mark driven to a credit driven system. So when from marks driven to credit driven system, marks will not matter much. Competency and credits earned will matter. Because to take an admission in a particular college, remember, I should have credits, I should have a competency, and then I can approach the college. It's not necessary that I have the marks also. If I have the competency, colleges are being advised. That is the reason UGC or this Higher Education Council has been roped in. If they start refusing, child does not have 90%, I'll not take admission. Then this entire thing will fall apart. Then there is no value to the credit system at all. So the colleges will now take admission irrespective of the marks if you have the competency. So now the schools and colleges will design assessment in a way which will test the competency. And that is the reason CBSE is paying so much emphasis on competency-based assessment and education. A tab has been given in the CBSE website where competency-based questions are being showed. So this is going to happen. And the assessment is also going to change from pen paper based to something different. For example, if you see, I told you someone who has never studied now wants to come back to school. Now, what will you tell? You will ask him, apart from the basic foundation literacy and numeracy, of certain skill that he can demonstrate by his experience, that I have worked in this area, I know how it works, and I'm going to give an assessment based on my prior knowledge. So prior knowledge, when it is being recognized, it means it is going beyond the books. Prior knowledge is not bookish knowledge. Prior knowledge is job knowledge. Prior knowledge is activity knowledge. So when activity knowledge and rote learning is taking a back seat, and real work experience or job ready people are coming to earn the qualification, the assessment also will be different. It will not be a bookish question anymore. It will be asking what is required in that job, right? So even in schools, different levels that we have, we are talking about competencies. In the holistic progress card, the curricular goals and competencies are now being mapped. So these competencies have to be achieved. So when a child is going to grade 6 from grade 5, what we need to check is, are the competencies there or not? And then, as I told, another thing very important, do not forget, because all of these things have to be taken as a totality. I covered so much in detail. That was the reason, that someone can fast pace their progress as well. So I can study for 3 months in class 6 English, and 3 months I take an assessment, and from the 4th month I start studying class 7th English. That will also happen. So here, whatever is conventional, the idea of a conventional classroom, an idea of a conventional syllabus, conventional time, that is being broken. So I will take 3 months course, 3 months English course in the class 6 and start class 7 syllabus straight away. That can happen. At the same time, if I'm a slow learner, I may require 15 months. I'll ask for the assessment after 15 months that I want to take the assessment now. I'm not ready for it when 12 months were there completed. Another 3 months I require. An on-demand exam again will be conducted by the schools.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Salam, sir, do we have time for a few more questions?
Doctor, what do you say? I have time, no problem.
No, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem.
Thank you.
Questions we can answer.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Deepti ma'am, you may unmute yourself.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, all the dignitaries on the dais. And first of all, thank you for the wonderful session. But I have two major questions after listening to what sir is sharing with us. Sir, now if suppose a student wants to take assessment after his credits or the time duration is over, then it also emphasizes that maybe the teachers have to be ready with question papers right at the beginning of the course, or at least they should have a framework wherein they can generate question papers as and when the child needs it. And second thing, if the assessment pattern will change, so is it going to also bring some changes in the curriculum or the current syllabus which we are sharing with the students? Are these two questions? Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Very good question. As far as the curriculum is concerned, we already know that a reduction in the volume of the curriculum is already happening. NCERT is doing that, right? 30% reduction of syllabus is happening. The second thing is, when we are talking about the assessment part, I understand, as I said, there will be certain mental blockages that we have because it was happening from so long. When we talk about assessment, immediately the thing that comes to our mind is a question paper. Now we have to understand there can be forms of assessment that goes beyond the normal question paper form, right? It can be an assessment that which is computerized. In assessment, every time if you have to make a question paper for individual children, it will be a very uphill task. Teachers cannot do it. So what we need to do is we need to have a digital system. Remember, in the holistic progress card, as well as this national credit framework, there was a point which I think many of you missed in the beginning. I said technology will be extensively used. We cannot drive certain things without technology. If we depend on the manual way of answering question papers by printing it and then solving it and correcting it, it will be a very, very uphill task. So this will be digitalized. Assessments will be changed, not only a pen paper test, but as I said, competency checks will be happening. And a lot of digital interference, I would say, or digital inputs will be required to conduct this assessment seamlessly. So you don't need to worry about setting a paper every time. There will be sort of a paper that is a question bank that will be there, and you just need to sit on the system, appear for the test, just like we do in, let's say, joint entrance examination. That's the difference between JEE and NEET. NEET has one exam, and that is the reason they have conduct the entire exam on one day across the country. And that is a very uphill task for the schools and everyone who is conducting it. But see, JEE, for every day they have 2 batches or 3 batches, and every batch has a new set of question paper. So that happens only because the NEET is a pen paper test and JEE is a computer-based test. So a lot of computer-based test is going to come in, and that will replace and save you time from setting that question paper.
Thank you, sir. Abhilasha ma'am, you may unmute yourself. Abhilasha ma'am, Abhilasha Verma.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving the chance. My question is that, like sir said, that Olympiads and whatever training achievements, what the student is doing, that will add to the credit. So
Right.
suppose that child is going in 10th, from 11th it will be added. So all the years, 10 years the child has done the Olympiads and whatever achievements, will it be added to the credit, or it has to be only for a particular year, or previous year it will be added?
Yes, it will be added. The previous year, for example, if you're starting from this year, let's say, so we will take this year's data into account. We will not take the previous year's account because that time credit framework was not applicable at all. But right now, when we are starting the journey, we have to understand whatever happens from now on, we need to document that. If the child is scoring something in the Olympiads or hackathons, that also will add to the credit point of the child. People like Sachin Tendulkar, let's say, who would not clear 10th in one go, and he had played an international game and is treated as god of cricket. When he comes to school, there is a provision that has been made that cricketing skill of that particular child is now converted into academic side as well. As I said, there will be no differentiation, no separation, that he was playing cricket, it's not related to maths or science. So in a way, we are telling cricket is less important than maths or science. It's not going to happen. So Sachin Tendulkar playing at international level, there will be certain credit points allocated for that. So when he comes to school, those credit points he already has with him, and that will help him in clearing the level of that particular class.
I hope the doubt was clarified, Abhilasha ma'am. Mr. Rohit Sen, you may unmute yourself.
Thank
and
you so
ask
much,
your
ma'am.
que-
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, all the dignitaries. First of all, sir, I want to ask a question from you, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, if suppose, sir, if I am an English teacher of class 9th, so then what we will do types of like assessment for the students and make the proper report card.
No,
Types
see,
of
right now,
assessment in English properly.
I would recommend right now, we are not required to make any major changes. What we are doing right now, we are taking the assessment just the way it was being conducted earlier, and we are assigning a credit after the assessment. So 1200 hours of class 9, that is after the class 9th is over. Those 1200 hours are there. You have included everything in that 1200 hours, from teaching, learning, assessment, everything. And now the credits that the child has earned will only come when we take an assessment. So if you're conducting an assessment in pen paper mode, just like you used to do, and you're following the board pattern. Obviously, you will set the question paper as per the board pattern right now. So that board pattern exam, if the child clears with more than 33%, the child is given 40 credits. So right now, all you need to do is set the question paper just like you were doing. Let the child clear it. The moment he clears it, he becomes eligible for 40 credits. This for class 9th and class 11th. And the same thing you can do as a practice for junior classes as well. All you need to do is see how many hours are needed, 800 hours, 1000 hours. Based on that, you can give the credits to the child. And you can make that credit a part of the report card of class 1, 2, 3 or pre-primary as well. Right now, CBSE will not ask these credits from you, that what is the credit of that class 1 child. They will ask for grade 9 and 11 right now, maybe next year. But if you start doing it, all the children will be tuned to the credit system, and they will learn about it. They will be masters and experts. The parents will know about it. The teachers will know about it, and it will be a smooth journey then. So right now, no difficult question papers or no competency-based separate question paper is required. Set the paper the same way. Give the 40 credits once the child clears that subject.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
So, I guess, sir, we have time for one last question.
Sure.
Chandrakala ma'am, please unmute yourself. Thank you, sir, so much. Chandrakala ma'am, you may unmute yourself.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful session. I have 2 questions. One, say suppose some parent feels that their child, especially in the junior classes, that his or her child is, competent enough to go to the next level. I mean, skipping 1 grade, going for a double promotion, what we say. So now with this framework, we have to allow them, and there is no bar of age as earlier we used to check. The second thing, sir, when you said right now that if say suppose some child is in grade 6 and he works on his English and clears it in 3-4 months, and then he goes for grade 7 English. So is it possible that it is only based on subject, or the entire class he has to qualify?
No, when we're talking about a particular subject right now, so the clarity will come a little later. Right now, whatever is being told right now in the NCRF document is there is a provision of fast pacing, skipping a particular class if need be. Now, how that skipping is going to happen, they have told this skipping can only happen when the child has the required competency. So if the child has a required competency of that particular class, so that particular class competency is not relevant to a particular subject, right? So that class means it is a class where English is there, science is there, social is there. So when all these competencies that are required from a child at that level is tested, assessed, and the child clears that level, then he can go to the entire next level. Otherwise, the subject wise, there can be some freedom as well, that he can start studying. Let's say they are taking an assessment. I demand an assessment after 3 months on English. I have cleared the competence of English. Now I don't need to study English of class 6th anymore. I can start preparing class 7th English straight away. No one can stop me from doing that. But when to go to the next level, class 6 to class 7 entirely, then you need to clear all the subject competencies that is required of that particular class. So if you are clearing that, you take an assessment of all the subjects, you clear all the subjects, you show the competency, you can be promoted to the next higher class. But if you're doing for one subject alone, then the remaining subjects are not assessed. You cannot get the credit itself. Because remember, the credit is 7 credits for one subject. To get the 40 credits, you need to have all the 5 subjects plus work education and other things. So that is how it is going to work out.
Sir, what about double promotion? If the parents...
The same way. Double promotion means what? I'm skipping a level. I was in level, class 6 level, I'm going to class 8. So I have to clear class 6th competency level. I have to clear class 7th competency level, then go to class 8, right? So I have to have 2 assessments before I go into class 8. And this assessment can be on demand. This can be arranged prior to the year being closed. Before the year comes to a close, these assessments can be arranged. And this is not going to happen for every other child, right? This is going to happen for exceptionally brilliant and gifted children. Now think about it. How many such children you have in the class? 1 or 2? 5 max in a class of 40? So that is the way you have to think. You cannot have everyone who is a gifted child. Gifted child is one who is in a 1,000 child, one child, right? Like that. So assessment for gifted children has to be planned, not impacting the other children at all. So these children will come and ask for the assessment, and the school can plan, talk with the parents. If they feel they can fast pace their learning, we are not going to, the main thing you have to understand is now no one is limiting you that you have to spend 1 year to cross that year. You have to spend 1 year in 6, then go to 7. No, you clear the competency level of 6, you go to class 7. So here, what we said, number of notional hours, 1200, that is fixed, but that is not so much fixed that there cannot be exceptions. So 1200 notional hours is normally fixed for every other child, because notional hours is for average children. But for brilliant and exceptional children or very slow learners, children with disability, this 1200 hours can be altered to suit the need of the child, either fast-paced or slow-paced.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Words fall short, Dr. Swarup Datta, for the kindness and the magnanimity you have shown in clarifying all these doubts so patiently, and humble gratitude to you, sir. The way that you have gone, the methodological approach that you have taken has gone a long way in simplifying the National Credit Framework for all of us. It is now a privilege for me to propose the vote of thanks at the end of this webinar.
Ma'am, just interrupting for 1 second. I'll tell again everyone, please remember the circular that has been issued. Whatever has been written over there, a lot of calculation errors are there. So when you are referring to the circular, you will find at times that 40 credits are not being added up. Somewhere it is telling 6-7 subject, how it adds to 54 credits. So don't get confused. There are errors in that particular circular. So I would recommend that I have taken the circular into account and also the original document of National Credit Framework. I have heard Dr. Kalsi's webinar in detail and shared the things over here. I understand that it is not very attractive because we're talking about figures and credit system. It's not going to be very attractive webinar, but trust me, this particular webinar, if you save, it will be a lot of help to you in long run. So don't go by the circular alone, go by what I showed over here. I have corrected those things and put over here. So keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude on behalf of BTAG and all of us present here, and our deep appreciation for Dr. Swarup Datta for broadening our horizons and for guiding us through the nitty-gritties of the National Credit Framework. Dear participants, please note that the link for certificate and the feedback has already been posted. You're requested to fill up the form with all the necessary details. I, Sarita Warrior, along with all of us here at BTAG, would like to thank Dr. Datta once again for his gracious presence and an enriching experience. I would also like to thank Dr. Abdul Salam for his magnanimous support and guidance. Also, a big thank you to Arun Mohan sir for a flawless execution of today's session. He is absent today, but his support has been invaluable. And most importantly, thank you to all the participants for their enthusiasm. I sincerely hope we have earned the privilege of your time. I request Salam sir to kindly wind up the session now. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. And what to say? A big round of applause to Dr. Swarup Datta and a big thank you to you, sir. In fact, a Herculean task, very beautifully, done. Very well explained in a very crystal clear manner. A lot of research has been gone into. So definitely we all educators are greatly indebted to you. Though you have even found the errors in the circular which nobody is taking care. So thank you so much for your wonderful effort and this great session. Definitely it is going to be a reference book for later. When schools and teachers start working to accommodate the credit system into their report cards and all, definitely this will be taken as a reference book. So your name will be there in golden letters, no doubt. So thank you so much. I'm pretty sure that we will have to continue this, National Credit Framework. The next step, as and when CBSE comes with more clarity in terms of lower grades and all, we will soon, we'll have to meet again. We are all happy at this, rendering your presentation, the energy level you are showing, everything, is praiseworthy, commendable. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you, Ms. Sarita Warrior, for the gracious moderation. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Please make use of this video, which will be posted in the YouTube channel of Bharat Sapodaya. Keep connected. Have a very good evening. Very good night. Thank you so much, Doctor, once again.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.